first time I saw Gilda was on TV when I was probably 13 or 14 years old. Of course, like everybody else, I fell in love with Rita Hayworth. But did I understand the movie? Not at all. I could not fathom what the deal was with Johnny and Gilda. Aren't they supposed to love each other? And why are they so mean to each other? In fact, why does everybody in this movie seem to hate everybody so much, including themselves? Well, it makes a bit more sense after you've had your heart broken, especially by somebody you still have to be around all the time. But then I saw the movie again in my 20s, and the bells went off. These two guys, Johnny Farrell and Balin Munson, are also a couple. And suddenly, the whole thing made perfect sense. Johnny and Gilda had been lovers until she realized she could do a lot better than this two-bit hustler. Down on his luck, Johnny is rescued by a suave gent who just happens to be trolling the docks, toting one of the most obvious phallic symbols in movie history. Johnny gets a job as the guy's live-in houseboy, kept in a luxurious style he's never known before. And just as he's warming to all his new duties, back into the picture comes his old flame, who reads the setup clearly and taunts Johnny about it endlessly. Gilda knows what she'll do to survive, but Johnny has only just found out. And he's angry that somebody from his past life, somebody he was in love with, has, shall we say, caught him with his pants down. Now, I am well aware that this reading of the film has probably lost a whole swath of TCM viewers who don't believe such things were possible. No movie released in 1946 could possibly have gay or bisexual characters. Well, yes, not overtly, but covertly, you better believe it. Virginia Van Up and Charles Vidor were incredibly clever in how they conveyed an off-limits idea through inflection, innuendo, and not-so-subtle symbolism. I used to get pushback on this theory whenever I mentioned it after a screening of Gilda. A lot of fans thought I was trying to be trendy or controversial. But I truly believe it is the only interpretation of the film in which the character dynamics completely make sense. Eventually, I had my theory validated by a source close to the production. Evelyn Keyes was married to Charles Vidor when pre-production began on Gilda. And when I was interviewing her for my book, Dark City Dames, we watched Gilda together. And sure enough, without any prompting from me, Evelyn pointed out all the bits of business where dear Charles was indulging his penchant for under-the-radar sex. Balin Munson's little friend, the suggestive banter between the two men, Johnny's very comfortable loungewear, even the exaggerated way Gilda accepts a light for her cigarette. According to Evelyn, with Charles, everything was sex. If you think he's implying something, he was. Keyes and Vidor had their own real-life passion play, especially after she fell for another director, John Huston. First, Vidor assaulted her, then threatened suicide if she didn't return to him. It was Harry Cohn who provided sanctuary for her and helped extricate Evelyn from the volatile relationship. Now, just as an aside, in 1948, Vidor sued Harry Cohn to get out of his Columbia contract, citing his verbal abuse as one of the reasons. Vidor claimed that Cohn constantly referred to him as the Hungarian coke sipper, or something to that effect. In his defense, Cohn merely said, "I call him the Hungarian coke sipper to distinguish him from all the other coke sippers who work for me." Now, I'm not signing off without giving some love to a guy who, at least based on this film, had no use for it, George McCready. This was as much a breakout role for him as anybody else, setting him off on a long career of cultured villainy. McCready had the perfect voice to play highbrowed bastards, and the scar on his face only added to the effect, the result of a youthful car accident, not the dueling scar publicists wanted us to believe. And McCready truly was a cultured and sophisticated guy, owning and operating a Los Angeles art gallery with his good friend and colleague, Vincent Price. Next week, Noir Alley presents another film produced by a woman. I'm horning in on Alicia and Jacqueline's gig here. They Won't Believe Me, from RKO in 1947, stars Robert Young as a homme fatale who messes up the lives of Susan Hayward, Jane Greer, and Rita Johnson. It's a personal favorite, and I'm excited to present it with Christina Lane, author of Phantom Lady, Hollywood producer Joan Harrison, the forgotten woman behind Hitchcock. The film is great, Christina's book is great, and she's a great guest, so be here for it. See you in the shadows.